Young Washington marched into theaters on July 3rd, 2026, a historical war drama distributed by Angel Studios and Wonder Project, and timed to land squarely on the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Now, if I didn't know any better, this movie is attempting to set up the USACU. Yes, the USA Cinematic Universe. You've seen Young Washington. Now get ready for Franklin, the Ben Franklin story. And after Mr. Jefferson and the Hancock, we'll finally get our Cinematic Universe crossover movie, United States. I'm the Real Life Fake Wizard, and this is a Fake Wizard's review of Young Washington. If this video brings you any value, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting new reviews nearly every day. It is 1743. Young George Washington loses his father, and with him, any shot at a proper education. What's left is a future of tenant farming. His older half-brother, Lawrence, steps in as a substitute father, loaning him a library and teaching him chess. Specifically, the lesson that a pawn can take a king, a metaphor that the script repeats until you can mouth it along with the cast. Grown-up George, played by William Franklin Miller, wants to become a British officer. He charms his way into the patronage of Lord Fairfax, played by Kelsey Grammer, having a fine time, by the way, and lands a surveying job of the Ohio Territory. While there, he finds the French are building forts on land that the crown considers its own, and from there, conflict ensues. The opening act is quite good. They put a lot of effort into making you believe that this is a serious movie to be taken seriously. This stretch of the film is a survival story. An ambitious kid with a chip on his shoulder gets sent hundreds of miles into frontier wilderness. Christopher Kimlin's cinematography and usage of these landscapes are impressive when put to screen. Although, every time the film insists you're looking at Virginia, you're sitting there going, no, that is certainly Ireland, which is where they actually shot this thing. The seriousness of the Act 1 survival adventure George is on is very compelling. When this movie is serious about survival or adventure or many of the war sequences, it's good. When it tries to be a character drama or when it tries to deify Washington as a superhero, which it does, it is not nearly as compelling. As Act 2 ends and then through the rest of the film, Washington is more or less a superhero. An untouchable chosen one carving through danger while the movie all but hangs a cape on him. And eventually, a supporting character declares on screen and out loud that he's divinely shielded. I want you to consider movies like The Patriot, or Braveheart, or Last of the Mohicans, real movies. Those movies don't force the hero figure on you to be rooted for, and Young Washington kind of does. I wish I had a better way of describing it. Only after seeing both of those types of films and then this film would you understand what I'm saying. Once he gets that final pep talk at the top of Act 3, you know he's about to go undefeatable into the finale, and he almost certainly does. Yeah, every scene without gunpowder in it is running on fumes. Let's start with George's Virginian buddies, the ensemble that is supposed to give the movie its heart. These are black box theater performances. It is stage acting performances from characters you have zero emotional connection to, because the movie doesn't give them any characterization other than this one has hair in his eyes, this one is a heavy-set guy, and this one is the kid with curly hair and a big hat. These guys have nothing to do other than to be the Washington entourage and go, yeah, when the time is right. Then there's the romance plot, which is worse because it pretends to be a storyline, but it goes nowhere. The film keeps gesturing at a forbidden courtship between George and Sally and lets a thread dangle through all of Act 1 and most of Act 2, where it simply stops mattering at all. Mia Rogers plays Sally like a young woman who's been airlifted from a CW television backlot, dispensing 21st century sensibilities while wearing a hoop skirt. And George's rival for her hand, George William Fairfax, is framed as a smug villain-like competitor despite having done nothing wrong on screen other than stand between Washington and the woman he fancies. There's a major plot twist here in reality. I had to look up after seeing the film. George Fairfax was one of Washington's closest friends, according to history. They surveyed the frontier together when Washington was 16, and the friendship held for decades. That fundamentally changes the story of the film in order to inject a hero arc for Washington where he's sloppy and conflicted for an Act 2 failure. The movie essentially invented an antagonist out of his real-life friend. Now, I must report that Mary Louise Parker delivers her lines as George Washington's mother with the energy of a hostage reading ransom demands. She is collecting a check here, and that is all. So who is this young Washington movie made for? Who's going to enjoy it the most? Boomers? I think this is for boomers. Specifically ones who will walk out and say this movie is the cat's pajamas, if anybody still says that. This movie plays like a history lesson with some battle reenactments and a hero who says things like, a divine hand, perhaps. For that audience, they'll love this movie. Anyone who has seen the last 20 plus years of Marvel movies is going to clock the superhero origin story and realize it's not really made for them. And again, I don't think any of this is a bad thing. I didn't hate the movie at all. It's not bad. It's just not great. It's right in the middle of being competent enough in how it was made, but also doesn't do anything that makes me say, I wish I didn't see this. In fact, I will say I'm glad I saw it. With Young Washington, you have a decent movie, and despite the quirks, it's a fine experience. If you were already planning on seeing it, I say go see it. If you were on the fence or perhaps don't have the time to see it in theaters, it's worth a watch when it hits streaming or VOD. Young Washington is a safe 7 out of 10. I'll give the movie this sincerely. It sent me home wanting to read about Washington, and that might be the best thing a film can do for the 250th anniversary of the country. Because look at where we are. This country is 250 years old, and most people can barely look at the flag. Whether any side of politics or on politics aside, July 4th is now a barbecue and some car dealership sales. And that's about it. The reverence is gone, and when you consider what had to happen 2.5 centuries ago to get us here as Americans, a movie that makes one person crack open a history book, I think, has done something worth doing. So to that, I give them a lot of credit. Now, if this review brought you any value at all, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, create, innovate, inspire, and cancel your Disney Plus subscription.